Okay, Greg, we're pre-living right now. Fun day to pre-live.
Pre-living. Do we have a Tuesday song?
No, we don't have a
A
Tuesday
special
song.
Tuesday song?
I should make a Tuesday song up.
Hmm.
856-446-8873. Should we create a Tuesday song? Oh, man.
You're gonna
I,
have.
I think Monday and Fridays is fair because, it's like we're bouncing into the beginning of the week. And we're bouncing out.
And we have a. Do we have a Hump Day song or?
It's
do we
Hump Day here on Turf Nerds Up. Turf Nerds on Turfs Up Radio.
Hump Day? That's a great commercial.
Oh, it is. It's classic.
That's probably got to be up there, top 10 commercials of all time.
Got 16 seconds, Greg. I feel like I'm a movie producer right now. All right,
Yeah.
Get ready, baby. Here we go. Okay. All right. Glad to have you aboard. Let's run it.
Real lawns, real equipment, and real business. Work with your hands and do it with purpose. Turf Nerds on Turfs Up Radio, hosted by Evan Lindman and Greg Durbin.
Kind of ride the waves of the song, Greg, right?
That's right. I was just trying to get the motion of it and see.
Well, it feels good. That song is now back in our podcast intro lineup and play. Spotify. We did an episode with a guy who used to work at a church, and they removed the episode because they didn't like the intro song. And I'd used that song all throughout the year. I fought him on it, and it feels good to actually win because I used a non-copyright song. So I don't know why they flagged it. It was cool getting an email the other day saying, we've reinstated your episode 166.
I wonder if they were like the remember the Facebook guys, what were they? Where they would just kind of decide whether or not the story was allowed. The fact checkers,
Oh, yeah.
and to come to find out, the fact checkers were no fact checkers. They were just people who had opinions, and they just
That's
didn't
everyone on
like
the
your
internet right now.
opinion, so they'd say, we're going to flag this one. It's not legitimate information. So you wonder if they had some guy that decided, I don't like that song.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried emailing him, and then I tried contacting the company, though, too. And then I got a nice email that said, your video has been reinstated. And I just sat there because they were, like, threatening me. They're like, oh, if you continue to, like, possibly do this and use this song, that they're going to, like, take our show down. And I said, I'm playing by your rules, Spotify. I mean, we're talking about lawn care here, and I'm not using any. I mean, there's other songs that I would like to be able to use, but from like bigger bands and things like that, more epic. But that would be that'd be a copyright lawsuit waiting to happen. So we've been good. I mean, we've had to be careful on some sounds that we've even used. Like when we did when the grass was so dry, Greg, this past year. And that song "Burn Baby Burn," Disco Inferno, and I would play part of the chorus when we were talking about the lawns being baked. Well, YouTube didn't like that. There was like 6-7 times that I used the song. They said, "Yep, nope, you're done." So I just had to mute those sections. But on the podcasting platforms, you can't actually like mute sections, or like YouTube has this feature where you can mute or remove just that audio. It's kind of interesting. So 856-446-8873. Hey, we had a good show with Ron the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, that was a great show. Nice to have him on again. We haven't had him on in a little while, but yeah, it was nice to be able to talk to him, talk mowers, talk the prayer breakfast, and it was really fun to be able to have him on again. So Ron's got his show too, right?
Yeah, it's called Sword and Shield, isn't it?
No, Bear Your Shield.
Bear Your Shield, yeah, that's what it was. But he's only done one episode, but I'm going to help him out kind of behind the scenes to get the sound and everything dialed in. Buddy of mine we're going to have on the podcast. I won't say what he does, but his name is Chris Ciccone, and he's got a podcast called the Not So Special Forces Podcast, and I think we're going to have him on our regular Monday show that we upload, Greg. But no, Ron's a good friend, and we're thinking about for the programming here for at least our show. We get guests on maybe on a Monday, Wednesday, kind of break some things up, and then we get our free for all Fridays, and then usually hit topics, but Greg, you and I are at least blessed to be able to talk about anything and everything all day, lawn care. So I think your first episode when you actually got on the show with me as the co-host, I think we went like 90 minutes almost.
I believe we did. We did a long show, didn't we?
Yeah, we just covered everything, and that's what makes it fun.
I'm surprised we had anything left to talk about.
Well, that's one good thing about nephew and uncle, which people don't. I guess they don't understand. You are actually my uncle, Craig Durbin. You've known me since I was in diapers, and then we collided with the business world. And some people are like, oh, is that like an act or like a shtick? I'm like, no, that's the truth. He's got his own separate business, and I do too. And that's where the networking and colleague aspect of what we're doing pays out big time. And we got a warm up, Greg. We have a warm up coming up this week, and I think more guys right now are going to have mowing on the mind. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're supposed to be 65 on Friday or Saturday. Is that right?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, 65, which is crazy. I mean, the guys down there in Kentucky, I think a couple were hitting close to 80 degrees. And we talk about the germination of when grass starts to grow, at least for the cool season. I listened to Eric Jones' lecture on grass. Like this is from like 13 years ago, and he was talking about plants and the optimal germination temperature for grass is about 55 degrees, and then for the warm season grass it's about 80 degrees. So if we're hitting consistent 55, Greg, that grass is going to take off.
Yeah, we start hitting that, and it's going to be no holds barred. How's that? Well, but once it hits
that phrase come
it's
from?
No holds barred? I don't recall. I'm trying to think if it's a. Well, I guess we could look it up.
I think it's something with like boxing. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, we had a couple. It was like 2013 in March, mid-March. We had 2 weeks where it's in all 70 degrees, and we were mowing by the end of March. It was crazy. It got real warm and it got quick. It got warm quickly. But historically, for at least the southeastern Michigan folks, we start mowing, I don't know, third, fourth week of April. We've even mowed as late as May. 856-446-8873. We're just really looking forward to it, and we're booking out jobs. And you had a kind of an interesting conversation with your client the other day, Greg, right? Wasn't it kind of was that kind of irritating?
Yeah, I have a client that, by the way, no holds barred is an old wrestling term back in the 19th century, late 19th century, where no holds are forbidden.
Really?
So it's basically do whatever you want, anything goes in that wrestling situation. So I thought that's what it was. So I knew it had to do with wrestling. I didn't realize I went back that far though. So. Yeah, I had a client I reached out to the other day to say, I texted them beginning of February, never heard back from them, just setting up my schedules, and never heard back from them. And I reached back out to him yesterday and called them and said, hey, I haven't heard from you, so putting my schedule together and wanted to make sure you guys were good to go for the season. They said, oh, yeah, we're good. And I said, okay, I'm doing a $2 increase this year to keep up with inflation. And they started going, what do you mean? I don't think we're going to do this then. And they said, well, price of gas is going down. I said, that's not inflation. That's not all. That's not everything that has to do with inflation. And so they said, well, we might have to find somebody else. And the best part is this is a client of this is the parent of another client of mine who balked at me raising my price as well. So $2 price increases on both people in the family. It must run in the family that they're thinking of looking for someone else to mow their lawn.
That irritated me, and I actually lost a client yesterday too, but it was on much different terms. She just says, hey, Evan, I want to continue my lawn service for this season, or say, I wish to discontinue my lawn service for this season and continue with the lawn care myself. This is a financial decision and not in any way a reflection of less than excellent service. You have always been consistent with quality service. I appreciate that you give ample notice when it's time for a vacation or otherwise we'll miss a cutting. What a concept for you guys here. It shows that you are about It shows that you care about your customers. I will gladly recommend E&D Lawn Care to anyone searching for your lawn service. All the best in the coming year, and then so and so. So it kind of makes you feel good. It's financial. I think I'd raised her $1 or $2, and it's a little postage stamp lawn, Greg. I probably could have kept her the same, like not raised her, but you kind of have to do that now. I'm trying to really up that boutique and premium service, and I would rather cut 80 at so and so price than cut 100 at a much cheaper price. It literally, it's like there's only so much your body can take when you're out there on the mowers. It does cost you after a while, but it was at least nice to hear that email from her. So I just shot her one back quickly. I said, hey, thank you. I said, if you ever need anything, a one-time cut or anything, let me know. I said, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a nice letter to get. And, she was just being honest with you. It's the price. And I mean, the other thing is this guy lives in a $1.25 million house, and they're complaining about a $2 price increase.
Yeah.
So they're easily $1 million house. So, and
How'd you end it then with them? Because I had told you just
I
to
didn't
call
even
them.
reply.
Yeah.
I didn't even reply. I just said, okay. And they're below my average price. So if I get somebody else, my average price goes up.
You could even call them. I was half tempted. Be professional, but call them and say, hey, you know what? If you're going to squawk really over the $2, then it's best that we part ways. I mean, if it's that big of a deal to you, I think you need to find someone who's cheaper, and just say it like that. You can just subtly get under their skin while still being professional. So, I mean, I've done that before, and it worked. Okay, like being very kind, but then they get what you're trying to infer.
This is an account also that when I gave them my price, I picked them up a couple years ago. I gave them my price, and then they asked the guy who was mowing across the street what he would charge, and it was $5 less than mine. And so they came back to me and said, would you do it for that price? And I'm going,
I hate that
it's
stupid deal game.
negotiating.
It's just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wrong.
well, the reason I did it, and the reason I did it is because there was a lawn. I was mowing a lawn right behind theirs. And, excuse me, I'm sorry. And then I was able to just keep mowing. So I picked up 2 lawns real easy. And, or I had 2 lawns very easy to cut. And, but it's also, wait a minute, guys, just, if you're going to squawk at that, then let's forget about it. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass out some flyers. I've got another neighborhood that I want to go to that I was going to pass out flyers, a little bit smaller lawns, and I can just put my minimum on them, and I could mow. I could probably mow 1.5 lawns in the time in their yard that it takes me to mow their yard.
Yeah.
So
that's a good kind of topic of discussion before we get in the meat and the potatoes of what we want to do. 856-446-8873, guys. You ever have those clients that will dump you over $2? I mean, when you get into that $5 war, Greg, that's just pathetic, isn't it? It's like, oh, can you do it for $5 less? No, I can't. So sorry.
well, the only reason I did it was because I was right there mowing another lawn.
Oh yeah.
And now I guess it's just irritating. It's the principle. I'm raising the price to keep up with inflation, and I just said, it's what it is. Yeah, well, gas is going down. Well, gas just went back up yesterday too.
Gas is really at the end of the day, it's a non-factor. It's not that. It's strictly just the cost of equipment and insurance. And they're like, oh, you're just making a better yearly income. It's like, no, you want to see my bank account right now? It's like, I'm doing okay, but by no means, Greg, are we like rolling it down the street like that. Like they seem to think that we haven't made and are doing really well though too. It's amazing. We've talked about this before. They sometimes think that we're cyborgs or robots. It's like, no, we're humans too. And that's where setting out like the Christmas cards. We've talked about that. It's helped out big time. It just puts a little bit of humanity onto what we do.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, just easy math. If you're cutting 50 lawns a week, you raise them all $2. Honestly, $100 a week is all you just made. And if you cut 28 weeks in a year, you just added an extra $2,800 to your bottom line, which is, I mean, it's money, but in the end, we're not getting rich on $2,800.
Yeah, think about it. Now that you put it like that, Greg's easy math. It's probably not even that much money at all, is it?
No, No, and that's if you raised everybody $2 and on 50 clients. So granted, you could say, well, I got 100 clients. Well, that's $200 a week, and that's $5,600. Now you're talking a little bit more, but you know, easy math is just, you're not getting rich on $2.
If you want to get rich, lawn care is well, unless you build like a huge company, Greg. It's very few and far of guys that get into that and find success. I've been tried to been told before, oh, just get 4 crews and like get bigger. It's like, yeah, no, that's just okay. It's, I mean, it can be great for certain areas and guys, but I think it's just for most of the guys here, it's a headache because we get a lot of emails, Greg, that come in saying that they're transitioning from their current job to getting into lawn care too, and they're just trying to figure out how to navigate the weeds. Like, how would we start it over in 2026 as opposed to when I did this in 2010, which times were different. I remember guys going around cutting lawns for $18, $19. It's like highway robbery.
It's funny. I have a friend of mine that he used to cut lawns years ago, and one day we were talking, and he said, "You mean you're only at $40 at the time? I think it was." He says, that lawn you're only cutting for $40." He says, he says, "I was 20 years ago. We were cutting it for 25." So that's not a big increase over the years. So, if you're averaging $50 a lawn, for example, or that's going to be my new minimum this year. And I know some guys are saying they won't do it for anything less. They don't drop the gate for 60, 65, which is okay. But by myself, I could do it for, my minimum is 50. So, but if they have a crew, yeah, now you got to start looking at going 60 to 65 because you've got a crew. That means you got more people to pay.
Yeah, I was always curious to see what these big companies are paying these guys, and yet, as we talked about before, it's anywhere from $17 to $25 an hour. And my lawns, I could not cut them for $65. No one would hire me there in this one neighborhood. I think all at 50 is fair enough, but I guess the right people will pay. And so, Greg, we kind of want to cover this here a bit, see how far we get here, because I was talking to our buddy Raleigh Spencer. Now, if you know Raleigh, guys, he's got some groundbreaking information about a push mower.
I'll tell you one big disadvantage with the push mower is you got to push it.
That's from our buddy Raleigh. He's got a lawn and landscaping business. He is bivocational, and he had a podcast. I don't think he's really doing it anymore. It's called Backwoods Lawn Talk, and so he was talking about different types of mowers, riding, standing, push mower, and so that was something funny that he said. But he brought this to my attention. He might be changing neighborhoods. He mows in a part of Canton, Kentucky here, guys, and it's very rural, very big lawns, and it's not really a affluent community, and he's doing okay doing that. And so and he was really asking me because he wants to drive, Greg, basically he's mowing big properties and it's more time per job, but he wants to switch service to an area about an hour away. There's smaller lots, tighter neighborhoods, but higher price per cut. Now, do you take the risk? That's the first question to ask. And then what I kind of wanted to follow through with him was, would you drive an hour to change markets? Is premium density better than big acreage? Is easier work smarter long term? 856-446-8873. We can apply this to any part of the green industry, Greg, can't we?
Yeah, we can. And it just you have to decide what's going to work well for you. The big lawns, a lot of times the thing about those is when you start cutting a big lawn, while you think, hey, I'm going to get a bunch of money, a lot of those people don't want to spend that kind of money to mow a lawn. So it's just one of those things you have to look at. And I originally, when I started the business, I was going, oh yeah, these big lawns, those are the ones I want to get. And then I realized people don't want to pay for those big lawns. So it just depends on the client, I guess. Who was I talking to? Somebody that they had a big lawn that they were making good money on it, but not everybody's going to make the money. I had somebody reached out to me about mowing the soccer fields in a place nearby me.
I remember that.
And yeah, it was a while ago, and I looked at it and tried to figure it out and went back to him. I can't remember what I went back to him with. Was like once a week. It was going to be $400 or $500 because it was going to take me half the day. And they wound up going with somebody else who I'm sure was just going to charge less. And I just said, if it's going to take me half a day, this is $400 at least. And, because I could mow another half a day and make maybe $400. So, but it was an easy cut. I can't remember how many acres it was. I want to say it was like 6 acres, 5 or 6 acres. And it's been a while since I looked at it, but I just said, it would have been just straight cuts. I wouldn't have had to do anything. But the issue would have been is what happens if it rains? And for me is what happens if it rains and how do I get back there in time before the soccer games start on Saturday? So if it rains on,
Kind of an inconvenience.
yeah. So that was the thing that I had to be really careful of is how am I going to cut the lawn and make sure I get it cut before Saturday games or practices. So, granted, I would have cut it in the middle of the day when nobody would have been practicing early in the day, I guess.
And usually those big field areas, Greg, the people that are contracting that out are generally cheap. I mean, I get it. Bigger lawn, they're trying to get a premium price. Acreage back in the day, I've heard talks of people charging $40 an acre, guys. Now they up to $80 to $100 an acre, and I've entertained. I mean, a little bit. I had a buddy who lives just east of me in a much tighter area. He can mow 12 lawns on a push mower in 2.5 hours at $35 a pop. That's pretty good money. It's just they're like literally like 6 passes on a push mower, and Raleigh wants to make this drive, and he's going to go out there to this town, and he's going to market. I said, just do door hangers, be personable. If someone talks to you, then talk to them. Just do door hangers and keep it short and sweet. And he kind of ripped the verbiage from a flyer that I had, and I think this might be smart for him. It might be good to take that risk. It is an hour. It's like basically if he mows Monday through Thursday, it's like 8 hours of drive time, though, isn't it, Greg? Like there and back, hour
Yeah,
there,
that
hour
is
back.
that is the issue is
4, 6, 8.
windshield time.
Yeah,
And how much time do you want to spend on the windshield? Now, if you've got all that time in the windshield, going there and coming back, that's okay if your routes are tight. And if you can get yourself into a real tight route,
yeah.
that hour is not that big of a deal.
it's
Like
tough.
your lawns, if you
8,
have
5,
to
6. Yeah,
if you have to drive an hour just to get to your lawns, but your lawns, like the lawns that you're cutting, you in particular, you've got tight route, so you could technically do that. That's what you want to do, though, is make sure that you've got a tight route for that. There's a guy I know that his dad cuts, and he lives in Clarkston, and he cuts around you because he didn't want to run into any of his clients in the grocery store. How's that? That's really why he did it. He just
I've
said,
never
"No, I
ran
want-"
into a client out, and
Yeah.
I live next to them.
Yeah. And I've run into a couple of people in the grocery, but he just said, "You know what? I want to keep the business separate from my lifestyle, my home."
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a way to do it, isn't that? Huh?
Mhm.
Never thought about it like that. I mean, that's why I haven't really marked my marked my trailer yet, because I got a shoddy Google review. This is probably, oh man, 3 years ago, and the guy just gave me a 1 star for no reason. And then I had found out the reason why he gave me a 1 star was because I swore at him on the road and threw something at him. Like, you got the wrong E&D lawn care, buddy. That definitely wasn't me. So it's kind of cool to keep a low profile on the road with, I guess, no trailer signage, because people just like to poorly rate you just to poorly rate you. People are like, just go look at Google reviews. People just give you 1 stars for no. I mean, that's the only 1 star that I had. But like restaurants, people will give restaurants poor ratings for stupid reasons, Greg.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably part of the reason why I don't even have a Google page, just because I don't want somebody going on and throwing on a bad review on me for the wrong reason or for a $2 increase.
Yeah, don't go with this guy. He raised me $2.
Yeah, I have $1 million house and he raised me $2. So, and the part that irritated me was I have to sometimes double cut their lawn, and it's just, and I'm giving them all kinds of suggestions on their lawn, and yet they still think $2 is too much. So I don't know. I just move on. But
You'll replace it. That's how it works, guys. Just when you think that you're not going to replace it, someone will call you that's even a better client.
well, that's why I was going to go in that one neighborhood. I've got one guy that I cut that it's at my minimum, and there's a bunch of lawns that are, there's 100 homes in that neighborhood. I could probably pick up at least another one, and then I could potentially go back to that client and say, yeah, sorry, I just picked up somebody else, so you didn't give me an answer, so I had to I filled my spot
Yeah.
already.
Have them
So-
fill the spot. 856-446-8873. What's the farthest that you've driven for a job? At least with us, mulch, hedge trimming, mowing. If the price suits us, Greg, we'll drive there. But talking about my buddy Raleigh potentially switching mowing areas to more tighter lawns, more premium pay. And let's kind of break down the big yards model, what Raleigh was doing, the pros. Well, there's fewer stops for sure, bigger invoices, less client communication. Well, I guess because if you're out there in acreage, Greg, they're not going to try to come find you. And possibly fewer driveways to navigate. Yeah, sure. But what are the cons here? Time consuming, physically harder, long mow times, and there's weather risk. Yeah, so you're going out there. I like the short lawns, Greg. Just the mow and go, the turn and burn. You can get in, you can get out of there before the rain plagues us. But guess what? The Lord will send the rain, guys, and you'll get plagued by it, but blessed anyways. If one cancels your big lawn, that's a big rev hit. And rural areas can also be longer drive times. And I want to ask this question to you, Greg, and to the listeners. Would you rather mow 3 big lawns or 12 small ones? 856-446-8873. It's a question we all have to ponder.
For me, it's if I'm getting paid, I don't mind mowing the big lawns because I can just do those and zone out. If there might not be a lot of trimming, but I also need to get paid for it. I'm not going to mow a big lawn just to mow a big lawn and not make any money on it. So that's and for me, is it going to be, if those 3 lawns, if I'm going to get paid the same amount on those 3 lawns for the same time period as I am on the smaller lawns, I'd probably take the larger lawns because I don't have to do as much. But if I'm not getting paid as much, I'm not going to do it. It's to the point where I'm saying, okay, it's got to be worth my while to be able to do these things. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other, as long as I'm getting paid equally.
12 smaller ones at more of a premium price. I think these smaller lawns, you can squeeze out more of a premium price because guys are like, oh, this is a big lawn. This is a big area. There's no way he would charge that. And so let's dive into the smaller premium lots model, Greg. Something that what you and I kind of have. You're maybe like more in that medium large to medium, and I'm maybe in the more medium to some large, maybe more smaller lots. Pros about the smaller ones, as we've already touched. Dense neighborhoods. 8 to 12 lawns per hour possible. That's kind of with us. That's probably with like a crew. The most I could probably do in 1 hour is maybe 3.5 or 4. Predictable timing, that's huge. Yep, we can kind of time out, Greg, where we're going to be with the smaller lawns. Less fatigue. Well, I would argue maybe not always so less fatigue. There's still a lot of trimming on these small lawns. They can be annoying. Easier to scale crews. Sure, I'll give you that. And then easier to upsell mulch, aeration, and trimming. Yeah, that's probably pretty common sense there. What are the cons here? More customers, more administration. Yes and no. I have a lot of customers, and they don't really bark down my back unless I am a complete moron. More nitpicky homeowners. Greg, we could probably agree with that. HOA restrictions. Yeah, it's like Washington D.C. Drain the swamp. Stupid HOAs. Like this one neighborhood that I cut in, Greg. Like you can't have a shed, but people put sheds behind their houses. And parking, tight access. Yeah, people are morons here in this neighborhood. You don't know where to park. They get mad if you park in front of your house. So, question here: is it easier is easier mowing worth the risk of moving markets? Is it?
Well, I guess if you're trying to cover your bills, then the easier stuff. But as long as you're making your money, it's got to be worth it for you to do it. So that's the thing that we're running into a lot is it going to be worth it for you to do it? So if you've got a minimum, and let's say it's $50 a yard, and so $50 a yard, half a day.
$50 a lard.
A lard. $50 a yard. If I can mow 10 yards in a morning, that's $500. If I'm mowing 3 yards, big lawns, they're $100 a line. That's $300. They both took me a half a day. Okay, so I got to figure out which is it going to be worth it for me to drive that extra time? So is $200, if that's every day, yeah, that's an extra $1,000 a week every day. So on the difference on that. So, but you're going to be spending a little bit more on fuel.
Yeah, I mean Aaron Sutter, Greg. Remember he was commuting that last week when he lived in Lansing. He was driving 50 minutes a day back and forth, and that adds up.
It does, and it can get tiring. It depends on your drive too. Is how hard is the drive? If it's if it's supposed to be half an hour away, but it takes you an hour and 10 every day to do it, that's all of a sudden you're going, wait a minute, is this worth it? Because you're getting stuck in traffic. So you got to be careful of that as well. And but here's something that you had said is, which is really important is. Years ago, when I was working for another company, they asked us who's your best client, or how do you grow your business the most, and it was what it came down to was whoever's using your product the most. That's who's going to grow your product the most. So
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily going out and finding new business, because you said on here it's easier to upsell mulch, aeration, trimming. So those are the people that those existing clients are the ones that you're going to get more business from. And if you can get the next door neighbor or the guy across the street, that's bread and butter. But or that's helping you grow. But your existing client base is the area where you're going to grow your business the most. Those are the ones that can give you referrals. Those are the ones that you can do the mulch or the aeration, the trimming. You can add to that, and that's important. That a lot of people, I think, forget that. Oh, I got to get another lawn. Need another lawn. Well, you know what? Go do some shrub trimming. Go do the mulch for that guy, the existing client that you have, and you'll pick up a lot. And remember, mulch is good money for us.
Oh, it is. Here, let's do a quick show sponsor break.
If you haven't heard of Toa Tools yet, it's time to plug in. They're the pros when it comes to charging infrastructure and power management. Their PDM power distribution system automatically cycles charges for any brand of commercial batteries. No more one brand headaches. Stack as many outlets as you need, save space with their sleek design, and stay mobile with BPS battery power stations. Perfect for zero-emission landscaping crews, HOAs, even camping trips or a day of fishing. More charging, less hauling, more time making money. Toa Tools, designed for pros, by pros. Check them out at toatools.com or drop a line to info@toatools.com. Toa Tools, it's time to plug in.
All right, well, we're back. 856-446-8873. We're talking about if you had to switch service areas to make more money, would you do it? My buddy Riley Spencer mows a lot of big acreage. He was debating about driving about an hour away to cut much smaller but more premium lawns. Greg, let's get on to we've kind of already touched this, like the financial comparison here. Let's get smart. Big yard model, $120 per cut, takes 90 minutes, 80 hours an hour gross. Not bad for a solo guy. That's probably decently respectable. The small premium model, $55 a cut, takes 20 minutes, 3 per hour, like what we can do basically if we're really diligent in this good cutting conditions. $165 gross. That's a big difference. Okay,
Huge difference. Double.
Yeah.
per
Are
hour.
you pricing based on time or based on what the market allows? I've really kind of done this all based off of time. You see it on the Facebook groups, Greg. It's out there. Guys talk about it, at least for the solo and in more of a general. And we'll get Scott Mulcham on from the $1 Million Landscaper to know your numbers. But you should probably, like the solo guy, should aim for $100 an hour, give or take. Like that's probably what it should be at, regardless.
The clients that I've spoken with, where you give them a price. Let's say I look at it and say, okay, you're going to be $60, and they're kind of looking at me going, $60? Why? And that's because you got a lot of trimming here, and trimming is time, and that's what you got to really press upon these clients is I'm looking at time. If you're why is my next door neighbor only $50? Well, that's because I got to trim around 15 beds in your yard.
Oh yeah.
And that's why, because I've got one that I know that's right next door, $50 versus $55. And I said, you've got a lot more trimming to do. And that's the reason why. So, there's I've had that a few times, excuse me, where I'm right next door. The guy is $5 less. And I just say, look, it's because you have a lot more trimming than the other guy does. So I have to look at that. Plus even the topography of the lawn. There's a fun word. So
Oh.
I haven't gotten to use that one
Hey.
in a long time.
Look at that. Or the
So-
undulations, right?
Yeah. I use undulations often, but I'll say topography, right? Photography.
Topography.
Yes. So the topography of your lawn is, hey, if they're at an angle that is going to be a little conducive for me to put my mower in the lake, I got to charge a little bit more. And I've got a couple of
A lake
clients like that. Yes, a lake fee. And I've got a couple of clients that there's an angle to their yard that I've got to be very careful of. What I'll have to do is I go down the hill just a little bit, and then I turn, and then I have to back up to mow that corner of that spot, because if I try and go down and hit that, I'll get stuck. And that's happened, actually. I got stuck on their yard. They had there was a crabapple tree. The neighbor had a crabapple tree.
Oh, a crabby tree, right?
Yeah, and all those crab apples, a bunch of them dropped down, and it just made it was like riding on mud. And I
man.
wound up sliding, and I had to get my truck to pull myself out.
Holy smokes. When was this?
This was 4 or 5 years ago. I had to get my truck to pull it out, and but the thing is I got my truck and I hooked up my truck to do it, and my truck was at such an angle that I still couldn't get it. So I had to have the owner come out and hop in my truck, and I had to push on my truck as well to get to be able to get just enough. And I think we even put a board on his lawn too, just under my tires, so that I could get just enough traction so that we could get it out. I don't think I thought to jump on my mower and pull it out at the time as well. So I mean, while he was pulling, I was putting the mower in gear. But I think it was
Oh,
so
boy.
slick that I don't know that I would have still gotten anywhere on it. So.
Oh, goodness sakes. That was probably irritating, Greg, but let's kind of talk about some risks here about potentially changing mowing areas or landscape areas. The biggest issue probably isn't the work. It's probably leaving your established clients, entering into a new market cold, because no one probably knows you there, losing route density you've built. If you do want to switch for even more potential for route density, and then we should ask you guys this: do you test the new area first, slowly build while keeping old area, or go all in? Maybe what Raleigh could possibly do is just maybe go from mowing 4 days and where he is to maybe mowing 3 days, and that's something that guys, that it's counting the cost before you go and do that, because you can make or break a business, can't you?
That's really the way to do it. You've got an existing client base. You could try and see if you can tighten those up a little bit. And if you're cutting 4 days, see if you can still cut those same for 3, and then slowly build up the other clientele in the other area. And then, rather than driving 4 days a week over to that area and not have as many clients, use drive 1 day, start building that up. You put them all in the same area, and then so you're working on your density, and then keep the other guys while you're doing it, and then slowly maybe you can take maybe you can pick up another day, and then another day and another day. So eventually you can get to the point where you can slowly phase out some of those clients.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, disheartening for some people, Greg, because they want it now. We're in this culture that wants everything right now. It's like, oh, well, I kind of have the dense lawns and X, Y, and Z. And no, guys, this takes a lot of time. If you're going to do this, and be that route dense guy, this might take. I mean, it's taken me 16 years to be able to say I've had 45 lawns in one neighborhood. This has not come overnight, Greg, and you've built it quickly in the half the time that I've had my business. But guys can only do what they're able to do based off of their service area. I mean, if I might be in Raleigh's same position if I was down there in Kentucky, Greg, with these big rural lawns, I think I would probably hate that. I mean, I don't know if I want to mow like 10 lawns a week that are like 5 acres each. That's just, I mean, I might slop out on like some of the trimming there just because it's just a big pain if it's not the right price point.
I'm trying to think how hard it would be to do 5 acres at a time, because you'd be standing the whole time, and that could get tiring. And but if you're sitting, that could be rough too because you're getting bounced all around. So 5 acres, what do we figure about 25, 30, easy math, let's say 30 minutes an acre, take you 2.5 hours. That's 2.5 hours of straight standing. And well, actually, no, because you'd be trimming. You know, you don't spend it all the same amount of time. You don't spend all that time on the mower. So, but you'd be on your Segway starting to do all your trimming. So
I don't
you're
know if
still
I could-
standing.
Yeah, trimming on the Segway and these acreage lawns, that'd be nice. But see, you hit a hole, you're going to be flying off of that.
Yeah.
Like big time. That's where I kind of like these smaller lawns. I think maybe some of the smaller lawns, that's a good question, could be graded better because some of these bigger ones, people don't go in their yard and look, and so there could be a whole bunch of holes everywhere. I mean, I'll be excited to hop on the Segway here and trim soon. Greg, man, we're getting really close, aren't we? No, it's good that we're kind of talking about this because I've debated the idea maybe I could drive like 25 minutes just east into these neighborhoods where the houses are really close and then figure out for sure if you can get a mower back there and into the backyard. That was the problem. Raleigh was telling me that a couple of these backyards had fences. I said, don't do them. So if you got to bring a push mower, because they're not nearly as big as this acreage lawns now, but if you got to take a push mower back there, charge premium. I'm sick of push mowers. Get rid of them. If you have to use them, guys, then use them for your area. I get there's certain areas, Greg, where guys, they use a push mower 25, 30% of the week. But if you can get rid of them, get rid of the push mower. It's just, and if you do use it, charge a lot.
Yeah, you need to make sure you're covering your time, and it's what it comes down to is time. So just because it's the same size lot and they've got a fence and I have to push there, then yeah, by all means you got to be able to charge for that and tell them, yeah, you know, I've got to push your backyard, so it's going to cost more. And if they balk at that, say, okay, well, thanks for letting me give me the opportunity to quote you.
Just tell them
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I had one lawn that I pushed, and that was because it was a client that I cut. It was a guy who owned a bunch of apartments and houses, and so I was cutting 7 of his lawns. And the only reason I did it was because I was already cutting all those lawns for him. And then when he sold that house, I sold my mower, my push mower. It was gone. Now I could say, sorry, I don't have a push mower. And I have another lawn that I was cutting that they had a pool in the backyard, and behind the pool was a small area that I would take my push mower to. And quite honestly, I figured out that the time that it took me to go back to the truck to get the push mower and to bring it back and get it started and then walk it back, I could trim the lawn. And it wasn't a huge area, but I just started trimming it. And then the other thing is because it was on a hill and a slight angle, my mower would start to want to go sideways down that hill. So that's where I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna trim this, and I could trim it just as fast as I could mow it. So and then I already had the trimmer in my hand, so I didn't have to go back to the truck.
I had a Toro Time Master, Greg, the residential one, which was I think I paid what was it, like $1,000 for it 4 or 5 years ago. And there's this one backyard. The guy had a pool. The way the pool was set, you didn't want to throw a whole bunch of discharge all over the pool. And then he didn't pick up the dog crap. I mean, he was a nice guy, but it was a relatively big yard. And when the dog would poop everywhere, man, that was free fertilizer, and it really just bothered me. It's like, okay, but then I got rid of him. I dumped him, and he was a good Patriot guy, and he got like offended that I had to drop my. And I said, "Bro," I said, "Hey, I don't want to push mow your backyard. It's a total pain because the backyard was bigger than the front, and I think maybe my price wasn't all that good, but I've had to let some good clients go that required me to use a push mower for the backyard, and I just said, "Hey, unless you can modify the fence, I'm getting out of here."
Yeah, I'm not gonna push, and even if I had somebody, unless they paid me a lot of money, I'm not gonna push it, and plus I'd have to go out and buy another mower. So that's my excuse. But I just looked up the Time Master right now, $1,650 at Ace Hardware or Lowe's.
They made a big bump to that, right? That's expensive.
Push mowers have really gone up, and I'm thinking, I've thought about when I looked at it a few years ago, I was thinking of getting one. Fortunately, somebody gave me their old one, so I didn't have to go buy one. But when I was thinking of getting one, it was like $500 for a somewhat decent mower, and I decided that I wasn't gonna spend that. Excuse me.
Greg
Sorry,
has had
guys.
to use the mute button today. It's the
Yeah.
allergies, right?
No, I think it was the smoothie. Smoothie's giving me some. I had a smoothie this morning, guys, a protein smoothie, and once in a while it just kind of gives me a little phlegm, I guess. But I started looking at that, going $500 just for a basic push mower is a lot of money. Even used ones. I mean, if you've ever gone on Marketplace to look at used push mowers,
Oh, they're crazy.
yeah, they're expensive. I sold mine. Here's the example: is mine was 20 years old. The one that I got, it was never used. It looked almost brand new, and so when I sold mine, I sold it used for $150.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was going, yeah, this is crazy. What mowers are going for right now, and it worked great. And but here's the thing: is you're looking at a 30-inch Time Master, and that's a push. If you could get a 32-inch stander, can you get that 32-inch stander through the gate? Granted, the 32-inch stander is going to be faster, or more expensive. But guess what? I gave away my answer. It's going to be faster. And remember, what's the problem with the push mower? As Rowley says.
Oh yeah, you got to push that.
You gotta push
Who wants to
that.
push that? I don't want to push that. Look at this, Greg, the 30-inch Turfmaster Toro, Turfmaster HDX with casters. The model number is 22236. It is $3,300. It ranges from basically $2,900 to $3,300. That's like the commercial version of the Time Master. That's expensive. I'm not spending
That's
$3
a
grand.
push?
Yeah, I'm not spending $3,000, guys, for a dinky little. Dinky's maybe a kind of a harsh word, but just like a little commercial push mower. 856-446-8873. You guys have commercial push mowers, the 30-inch commercial push mowers. I didn't realize, well, maybe I did, that they're that expensive. Like even the X-Mark. The X-Mark has a 30-inch push mower, commercial push here. Like, yeah, it's the X-Mark commercial 30 here. I mean, you're looking at, yeah, same price. They're about $3 grand, give or take. It kind of fluctuates. 2,600, and then it goes up to like 300 and 3,400. What's this one? Oh, here we go. Wow. X-Mark commercial 30-inch X series walk behind mower. It's Kawasaki engine, 3,400. Ouch. That's I think you can spend your money better on stuff, but I guess guys use them, Greg, don't they?
I'm just looking up here. Here's a Razor mower, 32-inch stander, $4,000. So
That's crazy.
yeah, and that's a stander. So heck, I don't know where the Razor mowers are, but the other ones are expensive. I was looking at some of the other ones. Wright has one that's $6,400, 32-inch. Skaggs is $85. However, how much faster are you going to be able to mow? And granted, you're only going to do that for if you've got a bunch of those lawns. I'm not going to go out and spend that kind of money on something. I'm only doing one lawn. But Bradley's is 5,000. Who's our Aaron's? Aaron would love that one, right? That's got
it's
a
funny.
25 horse on a 32-inch.
Raleigh called up Schleybaugh engine and he asked how come they don't carry Bradley. And oh man, it was kind of, they were nice about it, but they basically said, we don't carry them because they're cheap China. It's just cheap Chinese parts. Ooh, I mean, I think all of our mowers are like the Multiforce assembled in the USA. No, it wasn't built here. They just assembled it. Like I kind of hope they change that there a bit. I would like to get a 100% built mower in the USA. Sure, you're gonna pay for it, Greg, but man, I'm dumbfounded at a $3,000 commercial push mower. I would love to have one and to use it because I heard these things can like cut down 2 feet of grass, Greg. Like they just take it right down. So because they do have the 32-inch commercial stand-ons. I think there's a Snapper Pro that like has one like a 32-inch stand-on commercial, yeah, commercial mower. It's a Snapper, a Bad Boy. Our Hustler Surfer Pro. This a 34-inch, Greg, Kawasaki with the 15 horsepower is $5,600. Oh, ooh, they have a Vertex, Greg. They have a Vertex that is 32 inches. It's $11,000.
Yeah.
What? That's
Yeah.
Literally.
I was just
I'm
looking.
saying what?
Yeah. Bobcat's 36 is 10.2. So.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. So, but if you've got a lot of lawns, then yeah, if you're doing just one, if you've got a push mower, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But if you're starting to do a lot, then that's an area where you want to start looking. If I'm doing 20 backyards where I need a 32-inch or 36-inch, then yeah, I would probably consider doing something like that. But if I'm doing one, there's no way I'm going out to the point where I'd probably consider just dropping that client because I don't want to push it. So,
Yeah, we could almost. Yeah, I thought about that, but I didn't really think about it, Greg. There's a lot of guys that use the push mower more because they have to, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. I kind of came off as dogmatic. Oh, just completely dump the push mower. No, my area, there's not many fenced-in yards. But guys, as you just said, Greg, who have maybe 20 yards that require a push mower, it might not be a bad idea to get an Exmark 32-inch stand on. I mean, this thing looks sweet. It's just tiny. I mean, I guess it could be your cash cow
What was the
for the
price
right
on
back.
that?
This one was it's the Exmark Vertex E Series 32-inch. It was 11.3 on Arlington Power Equipment.
Okay.
They even
you
have the
You get that
they were-
36-inch Bobcat for less.
yeah. They even have the Exmark 60-inch X Series Vertex here for about 17 to 18. So, man, it's just really disappointing that these mowers have turned into car payments. I remember I think my 52-inch, Greg, was $7,000 back in the day.
Wow.
Which it's a cost of steel, isn't it? Like the price of steel is just going up.
Yeah, my Bobcat was, how much was my Bobcat? It was about 12, I think. My 61-inch Bobcat was about 12 after financing and all that stuff. I think it was around 11 for I think it was around 11 for before the 0% interest, and then when I got 0% interest, then it was 12. Yeah. So
Just got an email from Grasshopper, Greg. A deal so good you could scream. Up to $400 off on Grasshopper Zero Turns. Save hundreds on the new Zero Turn mower from now until May 31st during our Springboard sale. Get the full offer breakdown at the link below. Interesting. I don't think $400 sounds like it's enough, does it? I guess that's probably just like the credit card processing fee. Like they bake it into something. It's probably just some fee. Isn't it?
the $400, yeah, it's I don't know. $400 doesn't sound like a lot.
No, I mean, what's it like?
On a
1%, 2%?
$15,000 mower, $12,000 to $15,000 mower, that does not sound like a lot.
Doesn't sound like nothing there, like at all. So that's we got open lines here. We've been riffing on, hey, would you change service areas 856-446-8873, or have you done it? Greg and I, we've always just been established in our area, so we haven't had to do that. But do take that risk for your lawn and landscape business, and you can broaden this out. I know a guy, Greg, I had referred him a tree job, and he removed all these like stones or like around this tree because the dirt was elevated by 2 feet. Client wanted me to do it. I didn't have the equipment to do it. And when you go into this stuff, guy, guys, and when you bid jobs, you get more of a like a reputation boost when you just say that I don't have the equipment to do it. Don't try to do it and then mess up. So, anyways, he had came out and I referred this and I asked for a finder's fee. Didn't get one. He blew me off, Greg, but he drove over an hour away to get the job because he was desperate for money, and then he did a pretty good job at cutting the tree down and getting all these stones out of there. So, or these bricks. That what are those bricks? That they're the six-sided bricks. They're six-sided bricks. It's like six-sided brick. What's that called?
Hexagonal.
Yeah, these six-sided bricks, or yeah, hexagon pavers. Yeah, and they were up about 3 feet. And it's funny, these pavers, Greg, you can have grass and weeds and trees grow in the pavers.
Hey, what do you do on those? How do you trim around those? Because, do you get right into it? Do you, and then those little gaps, do you try and take all that off? Or, because I've looked at that and I go, man, I don't want to spend all my time here trying to trim these in between these cracks. So, or even rocks, because I've got a lot of people that use rocks in their borders. And so are you going to spend a ton of time trying to get the rocks out of there, and then you go back the next week and you got to do it all over again? I find that frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to do a pretty decent job at trimming through 'em, but you have to be careful because if you trim those pavers or those bricks, you can shoot out chunks of like shards of bricks and dust. And I just try to just get kind of like the bigger stuff. The clients aren't all that picky on that, but they're just kind of annoying because they do crumble and they fall apart over time. But guys will drive far distances. I guess more the landscaping realm. How far have you driven really to get a job done and to be profitable? Mowings, I mean, it's very low profit margin on the condition of you have route density, but a lot of guys, and we're right there, and we stand there with our brothers in mowing, Greg. This is our bread and butter. Sure, yeah, mulch, hedge trimming, things like that. But our bread and butter for this show is mowing though too, and we've debated, Greg, about maybe getting into more of the landscape realm, haven't we?
I've spoken about it. It's just getting the equipment. You have to go out and rent the equipment, or do you buy the equipment? And clearly, I'd rent first before I start doing things, just because I want to make sure, one, that I can do the job, two, that I'm doing the job well, and it's just making sure that I'm going to be able to do it, and then and how difficult is it going to be for me to fight through some of the stuff that you could be doing. And then do I have the wherewithal and the knowledge of how to set it up and to do it right? I guess that should have
That's
been
a
one.
really
Can
good.
I do the job right?
That's a good point. Doing it right, Greg. We've done a lot of jobs wrong, haven't we?
There's a couple of jobs I've picked up where I just I shouldn't have taken the job. I think there were not many, because I think after that one job I said, I got to make sure I can do this job right. Just because the opportunity comes up doesn't mean I should do it.
Yeah, several lawn care Facebook groups, guys. This is the best way to grow your business. You don't have to buy any book or course to do this. Look on Facebook. See these guys who have messed up, who have figured out the right way. And this, don't necessarily take whatever you can get. Sure, if you're just starting out there in the mowing realm, yeah, take a lawn and then give them a fair price. But don't. If I were to do it again, and we talked about it, if I were to do it again, I don't think I would give them as good of a deal. But I didn't know what I didn't know. This is 2010. This is before the social media lawn care influencers kind of came onto the scene, Greg. And it was a much different time then. And now we have no excuse to be able to know how to price things with AI, with people who have been in this industry for a long time. We really don't have an excuse to be able to price out things. And I like what you said, Greg, about maybe getting into landscaping. It's the cost of equipment. Sure, like my buddy, he owns a tree business. He's had to sell off $60,000 pieces of equipment. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Wow. Why is he selling it? He's getting out, or he just he overbought?
I think he kind of downsized his business, and he basically downsized a bit. And he was just trying to restructure, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I wouldn't want to have a $60,000 piece of equipment. The most I've ever financed. Okay, so from the only payment in my life now is the house. I paid off the multi-force plow last week. I think our biggest thing we've ever financed, Greg, is the mower.
Yeah, for me that's the biggest thing. I rented one time. I rented a piece of equipment. Actually, I've rented a ditch witch before. That was a long time ago, And
Did
yeah,
you rent a stump grinder once?
I did a stump grinder once, yeah. But what I did with that is I had two clients that they wanted to have some stumps ground up, and or I had one client that wanted to have a stump ground up, and then I said, I can you wait? Because I said, you know, if I have to rent this, then I'm going to charge you. And so I wound up getting a second client that wanted stumps ground up, and so I said, okay, you guys can split the cost of the stump grinder, and that worked.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I can't remember how much it costs to do that, but rent it first and decide whether or not you like it.
We talk about possibly renting aerators, Greg. You might be able to rent an aerator and make
Oh, yeah.
out filthy profit if you have really good competitive pricing here. We got, oh man, we're cutting up here on the hard break. We got about 45 seconds. I've gone everywhere with aerating prices, but I'm going to be sticking to my guns of that like $75 to $60 price for my lawns because I was getting way more. I made a whole lot more money pricing it out like that than trying to do like 125 to like 150. I just couldn't get people to do it, and that was even with educating. Maybe my marketability wasn't good. Go back and try it again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just find your price point, and it'll work.
It's cheap, but it worked. But then he had the guy. Remember that one flyer, Greg? We got 10 seconds where he was charging $38 an aeration, and that was a walk behind aerator.
Yeah, those Walkman. I mean, you spent a lot of time doing that too.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, keeping up with the Joneses. Eric and Jennifer Jones is next. We will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.